Hello and welcome to week 8 in social psych. And you have a couple chapters here dealing mostly with emotions and where we look at the functions of emotions in chapter 14, and then we look at the cultural diversity and variety of emotions in chapter 15. So interesting deep dive into emotions, building on, when in intro psych we talk about emotions and the different kinds of emotions, emotional expressions, maybe emotional intelligence, those kinds of things in intro psych. And now we're looking a little bit deeper and say, what are the functions of emotions? The social functions, the emotions, and what they tell us, what they tell other people, all of those things, looking at the functions and the cultural diversity of those. So for chapter 14, there's a quiz, and what I'm having you look at is for you to give me an example of an interpersonal and intrapersonal function of emotion. So essentially, interpersonal is between people, intrapersonal is like self-knowledge. So give me an example of emotions as a function of telling, of communication, and emotions as a function of personal awareness. I think that's pretty straightforward. Then we go into chapter 15. There's a discussion and a quiz, and the discussion's about where are you in terms of your emotional expression in your culture. The example I wrote down here, part of my notes, is, are you a hugger, or is your family a little bit more spread out? How do emotions get expressed in your particular culture? Have you ever gone to some other place and it's a very different kind of culture? I remember very early in life, when I was living in Guam, I had a friend, and he brought me. I was staying at his house for a night, hanging out, and Jim and his family brought me to a local all-black Southern Baptist church that was in Guam. Now, I was raised Catholic, so, just very demure when you go to church. So here I go to church, and they have a rock band, and everybody's, leaping up and yelling and screaming. So I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing, but talk about nothing like I had ever expected church to be in any way. Kind of built up a preference for that for me that lasted pretty much the rest of my life now. And kind of sort of got this idea that the priest used to say we're celebrating, but I don't think he really understood what that celebrating word meant till I went and checked out this one. So that was really fun. But certainly that social experience was very different, had a very different way of approaching worship than what I was used to, very different level of emotional expression. The quiz, I want to provide some clarity because it's not really clear in the course book. I've made a note to make it a little bit more clear. And I talk about East-West comparison in the question, but what I'm referring to is individualism and collectivism that you see up there. So make that connection, East-West. East, more collective, Western thinking, more individualistic. Taking a look at that, and where are you on those extremes? How do you view the world in terms of, are you more individualistic or are you more collective? This may require, because sometimes I look at these resources that I give, and then when I'm actually teaching the class, I realize that I really haven't given it enough treatment in the course book. So if you're looking at it like, Mark, you haven't given me enough, please look stuff up online. Go online, look at collectivism and individualism in different cultures like that. I'm actually in the anthropology class course book. There's a really, really good section on that, and I'm just going to copy that and put it into this class next time. And but that whole idea of Eastern and Western type differences in culture, really good discussion to have. Okay, in addition to that, you've been doing, and I've been watching you, and boy, the leaders came right up. Very impressed. I just go into that chapter 10 discussion every once in a while. That's that group project. That's due at the end of this week, so the final project needs to be submitted into that discussion board by Sunday night. I do believe, from what I've been able to see, that I'm really, really excited about this. I think many people have really stepped right up. I mean, day one, way to go, Patrick. I mean, there you go. And there's others. Patrick's was just there on day one and like, let's go do this. So good job on that. And everybody that's contributed, I've been watching that, people sending messages to each other. I've gotten copies of some of the emails that you're sending. Very, very, very good work. And I hope you're having, it's a challenging but cool experience to kind of work depending on one another. So I don't just want to pick on Patrick, but he's just been a really good leader in that, and as many of you have been. In addition, this week, now that discussion won't count for this because I have to get it in before then, but it's midterm time, so I have to calculate a midterm grade for you. Now, midterm grades are going to be based on what you've done so far in the class, your performance so far, and midterm grades are not final, they're not prison sentences, they are, here's how you're doing so far. If this isn't where you need to be, then you need to buckle down, or you need to rework your study skills, or maybe you need to get in touch with me. Are you missing things? That kind of conversation. That's what this is all about, while there's still plenty of time to do really well in this class. Now, my perception is this class is doing really well. And so I don't think, it's hard online because, someone could go silent and I might not even notice. So we'll see how that works. But I've been really extremely happy with the performance in this class. So I'm not sure if there's going to be much problems in that area. But might just be missing work or, whatever. So those will be going out by the end of the week, over the weekend and whatnot, getting that information out to you so we can have those discussions. So that's this week. Really great stuff. I really like the emotional expressions in your culture thing, like how do different families and different experiences that you've had. I'm really looking forward to that discussion. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff. So I will see you in those discussion boards, and have a great week.